Well, good morning. My name is Mel Hirsch. I'm one of the licensed professional practitioners here at the Center for Spiritual Living Prescott. And if you are joining us online, we welcome you here. If you feel that you are within traveling distance, we invite you to listen and see what speaks to your heart in the next hour or so. And if it's comfortable and convenient, see how it looks in person. Join us as we begin to make that subtle shift from, in my case, perfectly imperfect human doing. Ever hear of a human doing? Obviously, y'all have. And make that shift toward a human being, because it is the beingness that leads to the experience of that which is sometimes nearly impossible to put into words. That is the experience of the divine, God, Spirit, the Force, by whatever name you choose to call it in our teaching. So what I invite you to do with me is, one of the real important things we do as human beings and doings is breathe. Matter of fact, I've come to realize how important it is as the first rule. Because when we breathe in, our body takes in the newness of our surroundings. And just as important, when we breathe out, our body lets go of things that it physically no longer needs. So we breathe in the cool, clean, crisp air of this beautiful, bright morning. Hold it for a second and then breathe out and feel just anything that is kind of icky in there start releasing itself. And if there is something a little bit off and you choose to play this exercise with me, kind of put your hand toward whatever is a source of disturbance and where it's touching you. And when you breathe in this time, take it a little deeper and direct it toward your hand. A couple, 3 of these. And let's see if we aid that shift from a human doing to human remembering to remember that there is a being also. For the next few moments of what we call time, the world out there is going to bump along very nicely without us. Because in here, there is the leftover energies of peace from those who have experienced happiness, joy, and freedom inside this very room. And because love is spoken here, in this very room at this moment, I affirm there is quite enough love for all the world. And there's quite enough peace for all the world. And there's quite enough power and quite enough joy to walk through our every fear. Because Spirit, sweet Spirit, is in this very room. So, let's engage our minds for just a moment. I am told that as a perfectly imperfect human, I am never going to be absented from personal issues or problems or even tragedies to face. Just does not go with the territory. However, I am asking you to go back years, maybe 5 or more, and remember something that occurred to you or in your life that just felt, ugh. Notice how much fear was in the process. What if? Oh, what they did. Oh, what I did. Oh, what it hurt. Breathe in. Breathe it out. And now flash forward to remember with your human mind how what seemed so impossible became resolved and opened you up with a lesson or a gift or the ability to say, oh, thank you. I am strong. And I am guided, protected, sustained, and inspired by something that I am a part of, and it is a part of me. Spirit, higher power, God, the universe, the gift of when I was in it, I said, I need a miracle. And I want you to look at what the miracle was. Because as we continue to learn and accept and open not only our hearts but our minds, we are shown a thought that says miracles are natural. If they're not occurring, something or someone has gone wrong. Mid-course correction required. And while we're on the subject of miracles, and you are in a place called a sanctuary, and sanctuary implies safe, recall a miracle. Recall a conflict where there was another human involved, and each of you came to that conflict with the truth, my truth, no, my truth. Well, out there is a field where when we remember to remember and see the divinity in the other, the atmosphere shifts, and each of us decide to give up my truth in favor of the truth. The truth is, we are one in community, full of all kinds of wonderful feelings and emotions. But at the end of the day, there are really only two emotions, love and fear. Guess which one always wins out? However, the path toward it leads us. And the only way we lose at playing this game called spirituality, as we make it up along the way, guided by principles and values, the only way we lose is to walk away. But even when we walk away, there will be the opportunity to walk that back and remember that Spirit, God, is in charge and all is well. Contemplate that idea as we begin to come back into human consciousness. So if your eyes are closed, I invite you to open them and kind of look around. There's love in this room. Look around. Spot one. One that maybe you've known a while and you look and you go, oh, good, they're here. Okay. I like what's showing on the monitor. Time's up. Namaste. That means the God in me greets the God in you.
Someone asked, what did I do with Bob? Do you miss Bob? I'm sorry, what did you say, sir?
How do we know when to stand up?
Without Bob? You know, I don't know how to answer that. We'll figure it out, I guess. We'll figure it out, won't we? I said, we'll figure it out, won't we? Rastafari. Hey, I'm Jackson. I have the privilege of playing music. I have the privilege of playing music this week. And so we're going to do that. But I don't get to do it alone. Luckily, I have some friends playing music with me. I don't know if you are aware of this, but amazingly, we have Tess and Michael Barnes back here today. And I love Tess and Michael. They've been friends for a long time. They both are members here and have been gone because Michael had to get a job. I said, man, you need to get rid of that. And he has since obeyed me and quit his job. But they're members here, and they both were on the board at a certain point, if I'm correct. And Michael was the chair for a while. And I had a deal with Michael today. I said, you can come here and play, but do not dress better than me. And he did not listen. And so that's just how it is. All the way from Hawaii, well, by way of Prescott, let's be honest, but the Aloha Spirit is back with Reverend Helen today, and she's giving the talk, and I'm super happy about that. And you are correct, Bob is not here today. And we love Bob. You know, I don't know if you know this, but Bob's family had a real tragedy with his brother passing a week or two ago. Like serious tragedy of not knowing what happened. So much love to Bob, and we'll shoot him a quick shout out for peace and healing around that. And why don't we all, I remember this, we're all gonna do Bob. Let's all do Bob, and we'll all stand up. There we go. Bob, you are represented today. And we will remember that each of us has a light to shine. This
Hello, hello. How are you this morning? That sounded pretty good. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Prescott, right here in Arizona. We're very happy that you joined us this morning here in the sanctuary, and those of you who are joining from whatever streaming service you may be using. We're happy to have you join us. We are a vibrant spiritual community that likes to bring our light and our love, our spiritual truths, our caring and inclusivity for all together as we grow in that love, grow in spiritual awareness, grow in service. So we're very grateful to have you with us here this morning, and wherever you may be on your spiritual journey, we welcome you here. And now Mel is going to give us an invocation.
Minute. There we are. Thanks. All right. All right. First, last, and always God, right? Spirit, higher power, holy, holy, holier of holies. Whatever you choose to call it and form a relationship with it, that's what it is for you. And what it is for me is remembering to remember that Spirit's in charge and all is well, always, and in all ways. That's what we are here to celebrate today. It's not about inviting Spirit here because it's waiting for us. It lives in this sanctuary and in so many others. And we simply allow ourselves to let the world out there do whatever it's gonna do while we relax and take in the presence of love. Because at the end of the day, its opposite just fades into darkness. And for that reality being represented in the next hour of what we call time, I simply say thank you and join me in setting it by saying, and so it is.
This is a Michael Gott song called In the Silence. So let's call In the Silence. In the silence there is peace. In the silence there is unspoken joy. In the silence there's relief from a world full of chaos and noise. So I wait for these precious moments, and I hear all that could never be said. And right here in this holy silence, I find God, I find myself. In the silence there is peace. In the silence there is unspoken joy. In the silence these precious moments, and I hear all that could never be said. And right here in this holy silence, I find God. I find myself. Well, I find God. I find myself. I find God. I find myself.
I find God, and I find myself, or at the very least, a piece of it. Everything, everywhere, all at once is highly not recommended. The practitioner role in the service this morning is generally a reading, and I love to use the Science of Mind magazine. And having met and spent some time with the minister, Dr. Reverend Raymond Anderson, who wrote the guides this month, I'm going to start with a quote. And well, we'll just let it unfold. The only way of discovering the limits of the possible is to adventure just a little way past them into the impossible and see what happens. You may find wonderful things and scary things, but you will find something. He likes poetry, and one of our practitioners is a gifted poet. And so I'm going to quote, poetry is an act of peace. And isn't that what we're seeking here? Peace goes into the making of a poet as flour goes into the making of bread. And from Ernest Holmes, there's a peace at the center of your being, a peace that can be felt through the day and in the cool of the evening when you've turned from your labor and the first star shines in the soft light of the sky. It broods over the earth quietly, tenderly, as a mother watches over her child. When everything happening in the world today, embracing peace is possibly one of the hardest things to do. Yet, that is exactly what we need to do. It all begins with a question. Are you at peace with yourself? If we cannot embrace the peace within our minds, hearts, bodies, souls, relationships, and finances, how can we expect to be agents of change who show this peacefulness to the world? How do we move from singing, "Let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me," to, "Yes, there is peace on earth and it starts today with me"? In Spiritual Awareness, Holmes wrote, "A realization of our oneness with omnipresence begins peace. The peace which is accompanied by a consciousness of power." The more we realize that our individual presence is the omnipresence of the universe presenting itself as us, the more at peace we become, because we become aware, more aware of our divine power. This does not mean our adrenaline won't spike when we're confronted, That is a natural biological reaction. This does not mean we will never feel angered over injustices or grieve a death or survive and move past a tragedy. It means we're not controlled by, nor do we follow the commands of fear, anxiety, anger, or grief. And I say love trumps them all. It means our presence becomes a peaceful space where all these feelings, emotions, and conditions can safely be contained, diffused, and healed. It means that our natural way of embracing peace fosters a global atmosphere of peacefulness. And he concludes with an affirmation. As I embrace peace, I tap into the infinite possibilities of how that peacefulness can and will be experienced all over the world. And I say, let it begin today in this room. I wonder if the candle lighters will come forward. The Centers for Spiritual Living Prescott, guided by the science of mind, acknowledges the diverse faiths and spiritual traditions that enrich our world. Each belief system offers a distinct understanding of the mysteries of existence and a unique connection with the divine. Lighting these candles symbolizes our collective reverence for the diverse paths humans take in search of meaning and purpose. In this shared moment, we affirm and celebrate the multiplicity of the human experience. So we light a candle for Christianity based on the teachings of Jesus the Christ, who taught the path of love, forgiveness, and healing by the presence within. For Islam and its teaching and belief in the one and only God, creator of the heaven and the earth. For Judaism, a community of shared laws, traditions, and family ties which began with the covenant between Abraham and God. For Buddhism, the middle path of non-attachment that ends suffering. For Hinduism, the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. For the traditions of indigenous people everywhere and their close and sacred connections to the earth, the sky, and waters. For Baha'i, the path of unity and peace. For all the goddess traditions celebrating the power and wisdom of the feminine energies, including nature and nurture. And for the science of mind, a philosophy of life that teaches there is a power for good in this universe and we can use it. And now, would you join us in our affirmation and set that even further into motion? I am here for God. My purpose is to express the nature of God as love, abundance, and joy in everything I do. The good I seek for myself is what I desire for all people everywhere. And so it is.
It's so great to be here. Thank you all. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for the center. I didn't know I was going to be a musician until a few years ago. Through workshops here, I found my creative source. And thanks to Jackson for starting me out with some piano lessons, and Clay and Diane helped encourage me to get a ukulele. And I found I can write songs, and it's a beautiful, amazing thing. I feel that's how Source speaks to me. And this song I wrote a few years ago, it's called Courtside Eyes. And it took me a long time to write, but it is a story about a young lady, if this is all fiction, of course, but in her own, how she sees the world through different lenses. So I just like to imagine like courtside coming through us, inward, outward. So I hope you enjoy our song. Courtside eyes, courtside eyes. She got courtside in her eyes. Courtside eyes, courtside eyes. She got courtside in her eyes. Panning for gold, for pleasure, picking in the pinyon pines. Ella Marie was just 13 with her daddy by her side. The finer times than those Arizona drives, searching for hidden gems. The cowboy coffee and the whistling breeze. Four corners seem like a dream. Courtside eyes, courtside eyes. She got courtside in her eyes. Courtside eyes, courtside eyes. She got courtside in her eyes. Lonely morning mountain, just about 9:30. She'd grown up and never gave up. The treasure in her heart divine. The desert rose and creosote blowing, winds knew the way. Sparkling quartz in the rolling stream. Wild waves living up the dream. Quartzite eyes, quartzite eyes. She got quartzite in her eyes. Quartzite eyes, quartzite eyes. She got quartzite in her eyes. Morning dove was whispering, just about time to fly. Well, Ella Marie was certainly a queen, leaving home was all she knew. Oh, the wells of tears from all the years run like a rabbit run. But now she listens to the spirit breeze. Her baby boy holding a hand. Quartzite eyes, quartzite eyes. She got quartzite in her eyes. Quartzite eyes, quartzite eyes. She got quartzite in her eyes. She got quartzite in her eyes.
creative? This is inspired a little bit by my own stuff, so I'll start there. Do we have any real creatives here in the room that things just flow for you with ease and grace? And that is so cool. And so I think it just must be wonderful to have that just flow like a natural flow and not struggle with it. Now, a lot of hands didn't go up, including mine. I'm curious, conversely, does anyone not feel real creative or seem to struggle with getting a concept or a process or maybe even getting things coming together and maybe even questioning it a lot along the way or after you've even done it? Does anyone have those kind of struggles? The creativity doesn't just seem to flow effortlessly. Well, you're not alone. I was curious because I've really been blessed throughout my life with this abundance of so many people that have been very creative. Designers, painters, musicians, sculptors, musicians. The list has been wonderfully expansive, and it continues to grow even today. And I just appreciate them so much. I'm always in awe of them, and people that can do creative things with their hands, whether it's jewelry, whether it's baking, whether it's, not that I can't bake, but I mean really nice stuff. And whether it's paint strokes, whatever it may be, I'm always just in awe and so celebratory because I just enjoy it so much. And have you ever noticed that people that have that kind of talent, it's so natural, it doesn't really seem like a big deal, so they wonder why you're so in awe of it. That has been my experience on occasion. I think that I feel like with me, I have this concept that it looks like it's with such ease that they can create something wonderful seemingly from nothing, like a blank sheet of paper waiting for a paint stroke, or a clear screen waiting for some words to be typed in there, a blank screen, or a piece of fabric waiting to be crafted. I'm going to go way back, because I've been thinking about this a lot. I had a girlfriend in junior high school, and we lived pretty near each other, so I would usually walk by her house, and then we'd walk to the bus stop to go to school. Now, her name was Diane, and she sewed a lot of her clothes, and they're always cool. She never used patterns, so I was already dumbfounded at that. So I went one morning and to the door, and she came out, and we were heading out, and I said, "Is that a new outfit?" And she said, very casually, "Oh, yeah, I just put it together this morning." And I'm like, "What? How do you do that?" And I understand reality is that there can be patterns, there can be, you hone your skills and this and that. But for her, it just seemed like it was in her blood. It was just one of those things she did with that divine creativity. And again, it never ceased to amaze me. And she had made that day a really cool looking suit with a gray tweed, and it was a straight skirt and a vest. And I just was beside myself. Lapels, little pocket things. I'm like, how do you do that in the morning before we go to the bus for school? But for her, it was not unusual. Also, a very dear friend of mine from my early days in religious science, oh my goodness, she seemed so gifted at putting anything together, whether it be a Halloween costume, party decorations, table favors, flower arrangements, Halloween costumes, maybe I said that already, but it was amazing. She could do anything. And one day when I was once again sort of telling her, I just don't know where these ideas come from and how you can figure this and that and everything else out. You're so creative and innovative. And she said, "Well, Helen," and I'm like, "Did that just come through your genes or what?" And she said, "When you're the mother of 9 in a pretty low-income situation, you have to get really inventive." And she did, and always cleverly and with panache, and she loved sparkles. But the other thing I wanted to say about that was I just began telling people about my friend Nomi. I said, you give her a stick, a feather, a glue gun, and some glitter, and she can make anything. And she has not stopped that all these many years later. I've also said, because this came to me, it just seems I didn't get into that line for creativity when I was getting ready to come down to this earth expression. I just didn't pick that skill up in my assets that I was going to bring in with me. So I was kind of regretful about that. But in a way, I got compensated because I'm surrounded by these wonderful people in my life and I can admire their skills. Well, a while back, a few years ago, I had a friend that we were talking about something or other, and creativity came up, and perhaps it was something she'd done, and I was saying, well, you know, I just didn't get in that line for creativity, and I just don't have that creative gene. And she paused, she looked at me with some surprise and said, Helen, you can stand up in front of 500 people and offer a spontaneous meditation or prayer. I call that creativity. And I went, Really? I looked at her and I thought for a moment and I thanked her and I said, and I accepted that because she had just given me a new perspective. And I will say it was really helpful because I went, oh yes, we do have creativity in many different ways. And lately I've been reviewing the writings of our founder, Ernest Holmes, and the words infinite creativity just kept popping up. Can you tell it was on my mind? So naturally I'm drawing readings that are popping up things about it. And I realized that with my story, I had been denying that which was inherently mine. Because what I said was, you know, I just didn't get in that creative line, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And have you ever had a story that you stick to? Maybe longer than you ought to have? So I realized my story had been denying that which was inherently mine. And upon reflection, I wondered when I started telling myself that story, that I just wasn't creative. And I spent some time with that, and I got some clarity around that. And it was interesting because I reviewed my youth and coming up through times when I was really creative as a kid and going on through school and on up the adult chains, if you will. So many situations that required that. But somewhere I sort of had an idea of where that shifted, and I just, either I felt I lost it or I even forgot I had it. I just thought I didn't have it. So I decided then to change my story and to get back into the divine reality of who I am and what I have. Have you ever found that moment where you're saying, wait a minute, especially if you've already studied some of this? I've only been studying this for 40 years. It's amazing the lessons that come and go, and then they have to come back at you. And have you ever said, no, that's not me? Maybe it was something you thought or something you said, and you realized, no, that is not the truth of who I am. And that is not the universe that I believe in, and that is not the God or the spiritual expression of life that is what I believe in. And we get to do that. That's one of the great things about Science of Mind. It's all about choice. And when we change our thinking, what can we change? Our lives. It's so simple. It sounds like a little catchphrase, but it's so true. It only takes the changing of a thought. Sometimes in our head, it can feel hard to change a thought, but we can realize it doesn't need to be. And we can be patient with ourselves if it is. And we can be patient with ourselves if we forget and have to remind ourselves and get solid in that change again. So, you know, we all have an array of skills and talents. We don't all do everything, thank goodness. And that's wonderful. That's what brings us such diversity. That's what brings us surprise, joy, admiration, curiosity, and joy throughout our lives. Yet, Mel even alluded to something about not doing everything all at once because that's confusing or something like that. And it is that way. We are not limited. We're just not limited by what's available to us. That divine law of creativity is always right in here. And sometimes we bottle it up. We don't want to let it flow out. But frankly, it's always in a flow. And that cause and effect, that law of mind, that's working. That's creating, whether we consciously work with it to co-create or not. And that's something we need to remind ourselves, you know. That's why it's important to pay attention to our thoughts and the energies that we give them. clearly the subject of infinite creativity was very important to Ernest Holmes. In fact, his first book was entitled Creative Mind. Oh, I didn't bring that up here. It's a sweet little book, and we have several of them out in the bookstore. And it was nice to revisit that. It had been years since I had read it. And I'm enjoying rediscovering a lot of these things that weren't at the forefront of my mind for a while. I mean, the thoughts are in there, but I enjoy reading his words. I find him so fluid and melodic and comical in areas, and just very easy to read and flow with. And you can feel his commitment, his faith, his belief in these principles so deeply that it sort of boosts your own in really kind of magical ways. So that was actually published in 1918, over 100 years ago. And it was from a collection of his talks about mental and spiritual laws given at the Metaphysical Institute in Los Angeles. That was way in the early days, and that was before they started. They actually had a center there, Founders Church in Los Angeles, and we're talking way back there. So it was a joy for me to reread this first publication and to be re-energized by his words. He taught that, quote, "The greatest discovery that was ever made on earth was the discovery of the creative power of thought." And this certainly inspired him not only to speak and write about it, but to almost also formulate the process which we call spiritual mind treatment. And it's a special form of affirmative prayer that anyone can use to bring about more awareness in their life, more joy, more fulfillment, and also bringing more of their dreams and desires and wishes into manifestation, into their experience. After all, isn't that why we gather here on these mornings? To use these laws, to put them to work. They don't serve us a lot if they sit on our shelf and we don't put them to work. They've got muscle. They want us to use them. So it's important that if we want them to work for us, we need to commit to using them. He goes on to say how the creative mind of all creation, the infinite law of mind, operates through thoughts of each and every one of us. And that creative law exists within us, and it is responding always to our thoughts and words. And also, he says, every time you say, "I am," you are recognizing the eternal, infinite presence of omnipotent power within yourself, which is God operating through your thought. If we want to use this creative power consciously, we must always remember that it's within us. It's within everyone. It's also very impersonal, and sometimes we forget that. That doesn't mean it doesn't like us. It means it doesn't choose. It doesn't pick favorites. It doesn't say this law of cause and effect, this law of mind, of abundance, of creativity, I'll let it work for you, but not today. It's not yours today. That law is constant, infinite, eternal, and works the same for everyone. The only real conditioning factor is our belief. How much do we believe that that is actually the case? And by the way, this law does work I think I mentioned this already, whether we consciously are using it or not. So if we really want to experience it to the best, it's important for us to be mindful of our thoughts, because that's what activates the law. That's what gets it moving for us in the things that we want to see and we want to experience. Have you ever felt in your life you're just out of control? You just don't have any control over anything? And control isn't a great word. We struggle with control, and it's like, well, don't control this. But, some things you want to control. Anyway, I don't know. Where's the line from okay control to control freak? I don't know. I've danced on both sides of that line. And I've released a lot of issues of control, but part of that had to do with kids growing way up and being on their own lives and not having all of those things. But it's really important that we choose our thoughts and words clearly so that we can activate that creative process and let it bring to us that which we desire. The more we believe, the better each thing will be done. So we must practice our beliefs and remember that there is one life, Oh, that life is God, that life is perfect, and that life is my life now. Okay, how many people are familiar with that? So let's say it all together. There was one life. That life is God. That life is perfect. And that life is my life now. Not maybe it was 2 weeks ago, or maybe if I'm good enough, or I get a little smarter, or I learn a little more, maybe 2 months from now, that will be my life. That life is my life, is your life now. And I also read something new I just don't remember reading about him talking about God is not fractional. God is fully present. That divine energy, that creative expression is fully present always, in all ways, all the time. So, always there at our command, if you will, to co-create, just waiting for us to give it direction. Okay, we're doing okay. I'm going to go back to that question about creativity. What is, do you think, a common issue that when you're trying to be creative in your life with any sort of project that you're doing? What kind of things pop up that make us feel stuck? Attitude? Have to's, right. Or should have, could have, got to, right. Okay. Yes?
Fear of not doing it right.
Yes. What if it's not just right? Or maybe, what if it's not perfect? Right? Any other kind of roadblocks to that? What if people don't like it? Oh. What if they judge us? I heard something back there too. Expectations. Are they ours, or are they what we think are other people's? Or both? Both, really, right? Are we going to meet our expectation with that end product? And what about all those people? Are we going to live up to their expectations? Anyway, I just wanted to have this voice that because I wanted us to remember that we can find ways to have us stumble along our way. We can find reasons. Listen, I can speak about this because I'm a master of this. I've been a master of this in so many ways. And I speak freely about my foibles. But it is possible, it really is possible to say, no matter that, I don't care about that. I know that everything I need is within me to do this. The right people will come to me that need to facilitate it anyway. I know it's the right time, the right space, the right place to get this done now. And we can move forward in a calmer way, a confident way, and knowing that this dynamic, vital energy of the universe is bubbling up with excitement, moving through, pulling this all together in the way that our heart truly desires. Now, that's a copy of the book, but that happens to be a copy of a different edition. So the one out there is kind of orange, and it's a little bit different. But that's it, Creative Mind. And for images, did you run a bunch of images? See, I didn't see them. I didn't pick anything to tie in with anything in the message in the obvious way. What I did, I looked at some samples that I found on Facebook. I'm not very techie. And I sent them to Clay and said, can you find anything like this that you can use? Because, there's protected copyrighted images and all that. And I said, I just want to convey awe and wonder and infinite possibility and beauty and magic and creativity. All those things that sometimes we forget. I don't know about you, but I kind of swell up with, wow, when I see these kind of images. So I wanted to leave you with those and to remember that where's the end of your possibilities for creativity and greatness and wonder and joy? Well, if you can see the end, that's your end, but I don't think we can see the end because there is no end there for us. So I invite you to practice belief, practice knowing that if you want it, you got it, work with the law. If you even feel a little stuck in creativity, just take those moments, be still and meditate. Invite divine guidance. I call in my angels sometimes. It's like, reveal to me. Let me know. Show me the way. Show me the next step. And it's amazing. As they say, angels don't like to intrude, but if you invite them, they're on it. And I think that whatever it is, and always, even going back and reading a paragraph or a page or affirmations that have empowered you, are wonderful tools, and I think like little magic tools to move you forward in that quest for creativity, for manifestation, for delight, for more joy, for more laughter. And I'll speak to what Mel spoke to earlier. In these days especially, to more love, to more peace, to more mercy, to more compassion, to more human kindness, and just loving on each other and ourselves in the best way that we can. So I thank you, and I wish you a week especially just being on fire with creativity, and have a fabulous week. Thank you for being here, and so it is. Thank you. So let's just take a moment to ground that. Inviting you just take a deep breath in and hold for just a moment of gratitude, pure gratitude. And as you release it, just let it carry out any thoughts that were confusing or disconcerting or perplexing. Just let them float out into the ethers, into the nothingness from which they came. And with each breath, I invite you to just take a little bit of attention, spend a little attention on it. Breathing in love, breathing out love. Breathing in peace, breathing out peace. Breathing in harmony, breathing out harmony. Breathing that in for ourselves, and breathing it out to everyone in our family, our community, our world. And I know that in this moment, as we stand together, focused on the center of our being, that God center, trusting that God center, believing that all that God is exists within us as part of its expression. We know that we are divinely creative. We are divinely gifted. We are divinely guided, divinely guarded. Spirit always moves us toward good, better, best. Not in competition with anyone or anything, but just as we proceed on our spiritual unfoldment in our journey. So I know this truth for each of you, that each here is a divine being. I bless you. I appreciate you. I love you. And I know that your week unfolds in beauty and grace, love and harmony, and an extra dose of creativity. And for this I give thanks as I claim it, and if you'll join me by saying, and so it is. Thank you.
What'd you say? Sing this.
We let the love wash over us. We let it be. We let the love wash over us. We let it be. Will we let the night wash over us? We let it be. Can our ushers come up? And while we're waiting there, just know we have, in the effort for transparency, we have on the screen financial information just to give you an idea about what our goals are each week to move forward in this community, to move forward in that which we believe and teach and share here. And we celebrate our growth, we celebrate our attendance, we celebrate every aspect of what we do here and who we have here. We love you, we appreciate you, and we bless you. And so it is. Thank you. Ladies, oh, let me do this. If you have a gift, if you'll put that over your, yes? And we can do our affirmation. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, life. Nancy, did I do that too soon? Oh, well.
Hi, my name's Michael, and I was the president of the board ages ago, like 10 years. Anyway, I met Jackson, and he found out I was a singer, and he played, and we almost had a band together. We were for 10. Yeah, that's right. Anyhow, I don't mean this as a dig to men, because I'm a man and I love being a man, and I have lots of love for men, but I was hit by something when my wife decided, I've been singing like all my life, and she was like, oh, I want to be a singer-songwriter now. Okay. So here we are. But anyway, this song is...
He didn't see that coming.
No. So this tune is for the goddess tradition, and it sort of asks, what would happen if chicks were in charge? And it's speculative fiction. It's called The Age of the Goddess.
Mm.
She said, boy, it's my turn now. You've called the shots by the sweat of your brow. Gave me comfort, a place to thrive, what it means to be really alive, really alive, really alive. I've been listening to this voice inside telling me I should probably step aside.
I've treasured most of what you've done for me. Now I've grown wings, I've got to fly free. Ooh, it's the age of the goddess. It's the age of the goddess. It's the age of the goddess. And it's my turn to shine. Well, it's been coming down a long, long while. Weapons of war, a perverse stockpile. Well, the world is one, no more tribes. You're stuck in a ditch, well, it's time for me to drive. Ooh, it's the age of the goddess. It's the age of the goddess. It's the age of the goddess. And it's my turn to shine. We got a whole wide world to heal. Move it on over, I'm taking the wheel. I've prepared your last meal.
Hounds of hell will bring you to heel.
We've got the cards and it's our deal. Hear the bells of justice peal.
of the goddess. It's the age of the goddess. It's the age of the goddess. Her turn to shine. Her turn to shine. Her turn to shine.
Thanks, folks. Blessings. I really believe that this movement can really start healing the world, and the time to start is now. Blessings.
Let's bless each and every one of these gifts and tithes, the blessings, the money, the thoughts, the service, all those pieces that come together with love and care to make things happen the way they're supposed to on this morning and through the week. So I give thanks for these tithes on behalf of the center. We know that they are multiplied and returned to the givers abundantly, and that each of us have been given the opportunity to share in the law of circulation, and we're grateful for that. So blessing these, I also free them to do their perfect work in all ways, and I give thanks for that, and so it is. Do we have any visitors today? Or people who haven't been here for a long time and they're popping back in and we just want to say hi? If you'd feel like just standing up and just saying your name and where you're from, if you're comfortable with that. If it's uncomfortable standing up, you're good right there.
Well, my name is Sue,
Sue?
and almost 3 years ago, our house blew up,
Oh,
and I was inside and survived. So I'm here to let people know that miracles do happen, that God is real, and that with God all things are possible. Because I would not be here without God.
wow. Thank you. That's beautiful.
Dewey, Arizona.
And say that again?
We're from here.
Oh, okay. From Do It. Well, thank you.
John Love, her husband and caregiver.
John Love. What a great last name. And thank you for coming. So you've never been here before, or you have been in?
A year and a half ago.
Well, thank you for coming back to us this morning and for sharing that story. I love miracles. I love God doing its perfect work. So thank you so much. And someone's pointing to someone. Hi, Robin.
I live here in Prescott.
Perfect. Thank you. We're really happy to have you here. Thank you. Anybody else? No pressure. It's just an invitation. Okay, we're grateful that you came to visit us, and we want to let you know that as a gift from us, we'd like you to go to the bookstore. We have several shelves of gently loved books, and feel free to select one to take home with you and enjoy from us, okay? And if you are new or visiting and you're just too shy to get up, the invitation stands for you too. Okay? So now, shall we gather and declare our declaration here? Yeah. Here, let's. Here, you can go right that way. Oh, here we go. We'll zigzag. We'll make a serpent. Okay. Something wonderful is happening through me right now. It is happening through my mind, my body, and my affairs. I think it, I believe it, I feel it, I know it, I accept it. Thank you, life. Okay. Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins with me. Yes, there is peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, we're a family.
each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins with
And Bill, oh, I invite you to join us out. No. Okay. Oh, I just wanted to say we're going to mosey out toward the Sibley Hall so that those who want some spiritual mind treatment can come into the sanctuary, okay? Thank you. Thank you, Nina. Thank you, honey. Is that mine? Oh, that's me.